Why modern life is exhausting women. What if the exhaustion you feel deep down in the essence of your soul, but also in your body, isn't a weakness, but instead it is a signal because you feel that something is deeply wrong and nobody's talking about it honestly. You wake up, and before you even open your eyes fully, the endless list begins. Emails, deadlines, expectations. Be productive, be available, be present and be strong, be sexy. Speak when we expect you to speak, and don't forget, smile. And somehow, you also have to take care of yourself. I mean, about your well being, about your physical health, and about the workouts you still have to perform to have that bikini body for summer. You feel that you do everything right. You sleep, you exercise, you eat clean, you meditate. Or at least you tell yourself that you do all these things for your well being. And still, at the end of the day, you feel like you have nothing left. Like you've poured from a cup that was already empty. Does that sound familiar? If it does, keep watching, because what I am going to share today might change how you see yourself and how you see the world that's been asking too much of you. Here is what most people will tell you. You need to adjust your habits. You need to manage your time much better. You need to be more disciplined. Stop watching your phone. Go to bed more early. Work out better. Eat better. But here's what I want to say to that. No, 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 no. That's not it. The problem isn't you. The problem is that you've been trying to function inside of a system that was never designed for the way you are wired. Think about it. Modern life rewards constant output, non-stop performance, productivity that never pauses. But what if women were never meant to operate that way? What if the rhythm of your body, your biology, your cycles, your nature is in direct conflict with what the modern world is demanding of you? That's not a weakness. That is an absolute mismatch. And it is making you sick inside out. We live in a world that worships the masculine model of success. Linear, constant, predictable. The usual go, 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 output, output, output. And there is nothing wrong with ambition, nothing wrong with working hard, but the expectation has become relentless. There's just no switch off, no permission to rest without guilt, no space to simply be without producing anything. Women have absorbed this pressure completely, and they've added it on top of everything else they were already carrying. The emotional labor, the caregiving, the invisible weight of keeping everything together at home, at work, in relationships. It's not balance we're missing, it's breathing room, or just to feel what we are supposed to feel in our soul essence. We just want to be women. Here is something that gets almost no attention. Women are, in essence, cyclical beings. Your energy isn't meant to be flat and constant. It rises, it falls, it expands, it contracts. And there are weeks when you feel powerful, creative, and unstoppable, and weeks when your body just asks for quiet, for stillness, and inward reflection. But modern life doesn't accommodate that. A Monday is a Monday, regardless of where you are in your cycle. The deadline doesn't move because your body is asking for rest, and the meeting doesn't reschedule because you need silence. So you override it. Every month, every week, every day. You push through, and slowly and quietly, that disconnection from your own natural rhythm becomes the source of your deepest exhaustion. There is another kind of tired that is harder to name. It isn't physical, it's not even mental. It's an exhaustion that comes from doing things that don't feel like your own. Living a life that looks good from the outside because you can promote yourself with a job that everybody expects you to do. But it feels so hollow on the inside. When was the last time you did something just because it made you feel alive? Not because it was productive, not because somebody else expected you to do it or it looked good on the outside, but because it's yours. That kind of exhaustion comes from loss of meaning. It's a quiet disconnection from your own desires. It's one of the most overlooked causes of feminine exhaustion today. You can sleep for 12 hours straight and still wake up tired if you're living a life that doesn't align with who you truly are. And then there is something that is even more subtle and it's hiding in plain sight, is the beauty standard. It changes all the time. The trend, always changing. The version of ideal womanhood, changing every time. What type of woman? Blonde, brown, blue eyes, black eyes, big ass, small tits, big tits? You don't know anymore. It's an era of relentless reinvention. Not of the world, no, of you. Every season brings a new aesthetic, new way to look, a way to dress, to speak, to present yourself, a new body to aspire to. It's actually a new version of desirable. And slowly, without even realizing it, many women begin to see themselves as something that needs updating. It's like software, like a product that is falling behind. The pressure isn't always coming from the outside either. That's actually what makes it so insidious. Over time, it becomes internalized, and you become the one that holding yourself to the standard. You become the one checking if you're still up to measure. You become the one seeking for approval from a world whose opinion was actually never stable to begin with. And that kind of exhaustion is actually grief. Because somewhere inside of you, there is a woman who just wants to feel beautiful without having to earn it, to perform it, without to wait for the world to actually confirm it. Still, you're posting yourself on social media and you're waiting for the likes. Your sense of self, your worth, your beauty, your identity, it was never meant to be something you outsource to external validation. It is something that comes from within. It's an appreciation from within. It's a feeling. It's almost linked to an emotion. You wake up and you feel. You feel gorgeous. And reclaiming that is one of the most quietly radical things a woman can do today. But I want to come to this layer that is probably one of the most important layers of them all, because, and I'm not the only one talking about this, the world has been, in a very real sense, completely disenchanted over the centuries on, over generations on. We live in a world that has learned to see everything as a resource. Nature, for example, is something to extract from, time as something to optimize, people as something to leverage. Even rest now is something to hack, and relationships are something to network. Grief is something to process efficiently and move on from. Wow. The language of modern life is the language of utility. What can this produce? What is this worth? How can I get more from this? And in that world, there is actually little space for the qualities that many women feel called to. The desire to slow down and be present with something, to nurture, to tend, to create meaning rather than to just create output. To sit with the mystery of things rather than immediately have to solve them. To feel the sacred in the ordinary. These are not always just weaknesses or inefficiencies. They are just ways of knowing, ways of being, ways of engaging with life that the modern world has largely declared irrelevant. And when a woman carries these instincts, this pull towards depths, towards soul, towards something real, and then tries to survive inside of a system that has no language for any of it, she just doesn't get tired. she gets absolutely lost. The exhaustion is real, but underneath it, there is a longing, a call, a longing to live in a world, or at least a life where meaning still matters, where the soul still has a place at a table, where being fully deeply human is enough. I also want to share something personal with you, because I think you deserve honesty and not just information. I have experienced 3 severe burnouts, each one of them worse than the last. And for a long time, I didn't understand why. I was doing what I was supposed to do, working hard and staying disciplined and showing up. But what I didn't see was this. I was constantly forcing myself to perform, to produce and to fit into a rhythm and a schedule and a version of success that was never mine to begin with. I was living against my own nature, against my own beliefs and against my own body, just to fit into that system that didn't feel aligned with who I was. And my body kept on sending me that signal. First, it's gonna be quiet, that signal, and then it's louder, and the third time you just have no choice anymore. You just give in. You have no choice. You stop it all. And that was the moment where you actually understand. You cannot just pour endlessly from a vessel that is never refilled. And you cannot thrive inside a structure that was never built for you. Something had to change. Not me, but the way I was choosing to live. I don't share this to frighten you, but a lot of women are at this stage right now, where they realize that the system is completely exhausting them. Some women are maybe at the beginning. They start realizing. And maybe you are further than you will admit to yourself. But I want you to hear this clearly. This exhaustion, whatever anybody else is saying, it is not a character flaw, it is not laziness or weakness. It is information. It's your body and your soul and your entire being trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you that something needs to change. And it's not to hustle harder. No, 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 no. It is not to optimize more or to push through with more discipline, but actually to slow down and to come back to yourself and remember what your own rhythm feels like. There is actually a different way to live, one that doesn't require you to abandon yourself in order to function. There is one that honors the way you are built, the way you rise and rest, the way you feel deeply, the way you give and need to receive also. Don't forget that one. It's not just about giving, it's also about receiving and get our cup refilled at the end of the day. It won't look like what the world tells you success is looking like, but it will feel. You see, I use the word feel, not what it looked like. It will feel like something the world rarely talks about, and it is peace. If this video touched you, I want you to know you're not alone. But please listen to this. There is a very old story. It's older than any book and older than any system that has been built by the human hands. It's about a woman who wandered so far from herself that she forgot the sound of her own name. Perhaps you know that story. Actually, I know that story. I try to listen to the call of my own soul and I remember my name. And perhaps you're living it right now, so I made this channel for people who are lost. Actually, women who are lost. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, what is exhausting you right now? And what is the type of rhythm that inspires you? What would you like to do that is a calling from deep inside of you? And what would you do if you didn't have to perform anymore tomorrow? Please, if you feel called, subscribe and comment below. And I'll see you in the next video.